Okay. Well, as we were talking about doing this episode, we just decided that that wonderful introduction that you've seen in the last 12 episodes is in the past. You can go back and see it if you want. We're just gonna. Oh, I'm Steve.
And I'm Angie.
She's Angie, and we are serving camps. And so, if you hear in the background, we are in a very windy portion of Virginia. And Angie will talk to you about what we've been doing the last week. And we'll probably show you a video of an ocean or something.
Yes, as Steve said, we have been traveling. We were in North Carolina visiting family. And that's one of the positive things about full-time RVing that we really enjoy is keeping up with the relationships of family and friends. We have many friends that are throughout the country, and often when we are crossing paths, we can get together with them and see what they've been up to. And this past week, we visited my niece and her 2 little boys and her husband, and it was great to catch up with them because we hadn't seen them in probably 6 years. So that's a wonderful positive.
Well, like I said, it's windy outside, and along with the transition of moving from place to place, one of the things that we were so blessed about was we got to a Walmart to where we were going to stop and get fuel, and made a stop. And as you can see in this video, as soon as I stopped, one of our bay doors opened up. Thankfully, it opens up the correct way. I found that 2 bolts holding on the latch had lost their nuts and had fallen down into the door, and so I had to go after it with a magnet, pull them out, put it back together. The problem was I didn't know I was being videoed. So yeah, if I look a little strange doing it, she was behind me videoing. One of those things that you just have to do. But we are going to be talking a bit about campground memberships, and Angie's going to take the first part.
So what we mean by campground memberships is something that you pay into in order to get a discount, something free, spots where you can be and not have to pay a lot of fees.
Yeah. Such as, well, there's some, they're not really new anymore. They've been out there, and they've been out there as separate entities, but they have purchased together or merged together Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome. The difference, Boondockers Welcome primarily is RVers who have homes and facilities that they welcome other RVers to spend the night. Harvest Host is where companies, can be anything from a museum to a winery to a zoo to a farm, and they have available 2 to 3 spots to where people can pull in. Both of them are a membership to where you pay a certain amount per year to be part of, and they also, there are no hookups, so you have to be fully self-contained. You can't be a member if you're tenting or something like that. And they do ask that when you're there, you come in and you participate in whatever they are, sort of thing.
What do you mean by participate?
Well, in other words, if they're a winery, you go ahead and either help them bottle, if that's available, or you buy some wine. If they're a farm, you help them pick strawberries, or you gather the eggs. There's usually some sort of a charge with a benefit that comes from it, sort of thing.
And so, is there a limited number of nights?
You can only be there for one night. sort of thing. Yep.
Okay. And then Passport America.
Oh yeah, Passport America, Good Sam's,
KOA.
and KOA. KOAs have been around for quite some time. Even campgrounds that you go to that you see the A-frame office, that's probably been a KOA, Campgrounds of America. And generally you can be a member there, and if you're a member, it's 10% off sort of thing, their going rate. There's a lot of them, but they're changing right now as far as being bought out by different smaller campgrounds. Good Sam's has been out there, part of, well, not necessarily part of Walmart and Sam's Club, but kind of the same Walton, to where it's another 10% if you're part of the membership, 10% off of the campground fee, sort of thing. I will say the one thing that was very positive for me was I became a Good Sam member way back in my 20s. We had travel trailer and that sort of thing, and within about 3 or 4 years they offered me a lifetime membership. There was a higher fee for the lifetime membership, but not that much compared to, I didn't have to pay any more dues, sort of thing. So there's that. And Passport America is something that's been around now for, I don't know, probably 6-7 years, and they are an entity that provides reservations, or that you can go ahead and contact a campground that is part of their membership, and you get 50% off. It's based upon 50% off of what the going rate overnight fee is, but it's still a discount. And in a way, I think it's better than 10% of Good Sam's.
Or KOA.
Or KOA, yeah.
The other kind of memberships that we have come across are they're more like timeshares. When we had first purchased our fifth wheel, we had bought a very reasonable membership to Hart Ranch in South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota. And that allowed us to be at the campground and pay a minimal $5 a day fee for being at a resort that had all the amenities. It was a very nice resort. And so, but we only had that up until we moved to Texas. Hart Ranch also, both Hart Ranch and what we actually purchased with was Ocean Canyon Properties, which is in Texas, when we were in Texas, because we knew that we were going full time. And they had a package. Again, it's a little more spendy, and we do pay a maintenance fee every year, much like timeshare, but we're not limited to 1 week or however many points, like a blue green or anything like that. We can use the campgrounds, and there's 8 campgrounds along the south, so we use them quite regularly during our transition times like this. The other thing with Ocean Canyon Properties, when we purchased it, also came a membership to Coast to Coast. Now, the only way that you can get a Coast to Coast membership, which is a membership to campgrounds throughout the United States, there's probably, some states there's a half a dozen, or like Texas, there's over 50. But in other states there's none, or maybe 1 or 2. So you kind of have to look at the map. Sometimes you're not as close as you want to be. Like currently we're in Northern Virginia, and for this next week we'll be going into Washington, D.C. But we're about an hour and a half outside of Washington, D.C. So it'll be some driving. but we're not paying campground fees. So, there's positives to being a member of a campground group. That's what I call them. There's many different groups throughout the United States. There's Outdoor Adventures is another one that we've come across, and Ocean Canyon Properties. There's many different groups, but you have to be a member of that group first before you can do the Coast to Coast. And Coast to Coast also requires an annual membership if you decide to use their facilities. But it's nice. They have online registrations. You can get on and look at where you plan to go. It helps with our planning, and we can book things anywhere from 90 days to 60 days. There are some restrictions on bookings, but we use these different campground memberships that we have. We actually have the Ocean Canyon Properties and the Coast to Coast and the Good Sam's. We use those during our transition times from the south to the north or the north to the south, which is going on now.
The neat part about the memberships is, obviously, much like timeshares, they're trying to sell the timeshares to the families that only have 2 weeks of vacation, sort of thing, because that's where they make their money. Where they make their money at net is when families can only use them for a very short time, but they have to pay. Us, retired folks, we have a wide opening, and especially for those of us who are full-time, we can plug into this and, like Angie said, have probably close to 9-10 reservations during the year and they can vary anywhere from 3 or 4 days to 14 days at the campgrounds. And so that is what I consider helping us out financially. So as far as the memberships go, they're the one thing I kind of consider is probably somebody out there that would comment otherwise, but it's kind of a no-brainer. The earlier you can buy the membership, if you can afford it, the better, because when you can get it while you're young and use it throughout your lifetime, as long as it's still worthy, it works.
And the other thing about the Heart Ranch, the Ocean Canyon Properties, those are actual deeds. So you can pass those on to your kids, or when you're done with it, you can turn around and sell it. So if you learned something from this, if it was beneficial, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications when we add a new one, and share us with your friends.
Or if you have questions about what we're talking about, put a comment.
Yep.
Write a comment and let us know what we can answer. Thank you.
Goodbye.